We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball!
To the end zone! Touchdown, Oregon! Mariota dives! Touchdown! They hand it off straight out! C.J. Burdell wins the game for Oregon!
Inside the 10! A hat-trick, a touchdown from Justin Herbert! Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it! Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon! They storm the field at Autzen!
All right, Duck fans, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Ducks Rising podcast, sponsored by Backer. My name's Zachary, Neel. You know my co-host over there, Travis Rooke-Ley. Travis, what's up, man? How we doing?
Good. Civil War week. Fired up. Seems like I know you've been at some of the media availabilities. I know the players seem fired up. Jerry Mixon yesterday gave us some nice quotables, I saw.
It's funny. We talked to Dan today, and someone brought up the Jerry comment. And they just said that, Jerry talked about little brother. And Dan was like, yeah, if you're going to talk, you got to back it up. And, that was basically it. And so I was like, oh, I don't know that you were thrilled about that. But they're going to go out and back it up, I'm sure.
It's one of those where I'm like, it makes me happy that this isn't the Oregon State of old, where I felt a little more uneasy about a game like this. I got to imagine he's not going to be talking like that leading up to Penn State. But maybe Franklin will and give us some motivation or something.
I would not be surprised by that. Well, as you said, we are officially in Beaver Hate Week. It's still very strange to be saying that in the middle of September, but, the hate, I think, is still there on both sides. We're going to break things down today, look at the matchup, give you some predictions, and get this thing rolling. Just a reminder, if you have not already, be sure to go subscribe to our YouTube and give us a rating and review on the podcasting app of your choice. We've got a really good thing going here at Ducks Rising, a ton of really incredible content that we'll talk about soon. We're just, we're giving you guys a lot. We would appreciate the little help in return.
100%. And I'll pop it up on the screen right now, but we've got a big promotion going on in Ducks Rising right now. Not to look ahead too much to Penn State, but we're doing a fundraising challenge. They're also a Lockerverse school, so naturally made sense to do that leading up. We've got a good little cushion right now, but their fan base / donor base is about 3x ours, so we've got to build up more. But as Duck fans can see, super cool promotion we're doing. New members, one-time donations, whatever it is counts. If you follow the link to the site, which we'll have in the podcast description here, you'll be able to see this same page and contribute directly from there. But as you can see, different entry points, 2x entries, 3x entries, 5x entries. And as you can see, if we can win this thing as Duck fans, that is a heck of a prize pack that we're offering. 2 free tickets to the whiteout game at Penn State, $2,000 travel credit, and then some additional swag from Backer and some of our other sponsors. So we feel like if any fans out there or listeners were thinking about joining Ducks Rising, especially with Jeff's film breakdown going behind the paywall this week, this would be a perfect time to do it because help us raise some money, win this challenge, and give yourself a chance to join some of us out at Penn State. So check out the link in the bio, like I said, and check it out.
Absolutely. Before we jump into things, just our weekly housekeeping. To start off, we don't pat ourselves on the back often, but I think in this case we really should, because over the past few days we've given some incredible content, starting last week with the Dan Rubenstein interview. I know that was really good stuff the fans liked. And then on Sunday, our interview with the Van Horns with the uniform drop and going deep into that. Really fun content. I mean, I know that you and I both really enjoyed both of those interviews, both of those podcasts, but so if you like those, once again, go over to Ducks Rising and find us, help us out there. The Ducks Rising film room dropped earlier this week, Jeff's breakdown of week 3 against Northwestern. Some really good stuff in there. Jeff highlighted a lot of Dante Moore throws, which was, very warranted after his game. I thought that he had some incredible tape. What was your favorite part of his breakdown overall?
I mean, I think, like you said, just I think a lot of us were impressed, especially with some of the work Dante did on third down, and we'll get to that shortly. I think talking about the Northwestern game a little bit, but just the way Jeff breaks it down and just helps you understand what Dante is seeing, what's the read supposed to be here, how is he seeing the whole field. I think it's those things that I think he's ahead of certainly where Dylan was last year at this time, just in terms of comfortability in the offense, and you can see it in the way he's seeing the whole field one guy, another guy, back to your backside. So just Jeff's Jeff's ability to break down not only what the offense is doing, what the defense is doing, and therefore how Moore is adjusting is just a special piece to have as a part of this thing.
Yeah, I listened to Joel Klatt earlier today, and he was saying that in his mind, Dante Moore is at right now where Bo Nix was in his second year in the Oregon offense. It's like, that's pretty incredible. And I mean, of course, this is Dante's second year, just not starting. But yeah, the things he's doing with this offense, the way he's got control over it, I think has been really impressive to watch.
And Bo is still, Bo is still just like trigger shy at times. Bo wasn't dialed in terms of the passing attack every game, I wouldn't say. Obviously turned into a great quarterback. Like, that's not a slight to him, but the way Dante has like seen the field and just like has felt comfortable in the pocket has been so impressive to me, albeit against, I would say, not the best opponent so far, and he's had clean pockets, credit our offensive line. So I think, if he can continue that coming out of Penn State, I was telling a friend the other day, like, if you like Dante Moore, I know we'll talk about this later in the pod, at plus 1,100 right now, if he goes into Happy Valley and wins, that's plus 500 or less. So if you like us to win that game, put some money on him right now.
Yeah, it's just better odds. If you have not yet, make sure to go check out our Ducks Rising Alumni Corner. It dropped earlier on Wednesday. That was with Will Murphy. Travis, tell me a bit about that one. That was special.
Yeah, for fans that may be a little younger than us, they may not remember the name Will Murphy, but man, Will is like represents everything Oregon. A hometown Oregon guy, started as a walk-on. He told like some amazing stories about just like showing up to walk-on practice and what that was like. Some hilarious anecdotes from that time. But he worked up. He was a starter on probably the best Oregon team ever in my mind. 2012, he started games, started the Civil War, so played 2 seasons in the practice squad for the Eagles. It was just super cool to see like a homegrown Oregon guy, Civil War week, talking about what that game meant to him, but just like giving some more inside perspective of what it's like in the locker room. He told a great story about what that transition from Bellotti to Chip was like, and differences in those guys and how they did things. And I think he also like humanized Chip in a way. I think there's a lot of chatter out there of how rigid and tough Chip can be on the outside because you see some of the media stuff, but like that dude is a player's coach from day one, and guys like Will like absolutely loved him.
Yeah, absolutely. As for today's show, like I said, we are going to give you a full preview on Oregon State and what to expect on Saturday, and then we're going to look a bit around the college football world, discuss some other top games to tune into, and then we've got a fun game at the end here where we're going to start talking about Heisman candidates a little bit. We're a quarter way through the season. Felt like a good time to kind of open things up and just see who's in contention there. So we'll get to that a little bit later. We will then close it out with our Autzen Airwaves as usual. Before that, though, Travis, can you tell me a bit about Backer?
Yep. Just a reminder, this podcast is sponsored by Backer. Backer is a new outerwear company founded by an Oregon alum, combining high-performance materials from the outdoor industry with a sleek Oregon look. As someone who grew up in Eugene, I know the value of high-end apparel on football Saturdays, summer hikes, and winter trips to the mountains. This gear checks every box. We just encourage all Duck fans to check out their amazing jackets, hoodies, hats, and more at Backer. That's BCKR.com. Use the code RISINGFREE for free expedited shipping, and 10% of all orders will go back to Ducks Rising. Check out Backer today. I know they had an awesome, I don't know how many Duck fans caught their ad during the game last weekend, but they went viral with the first commercial. Got to see LaMichael, Bryce, and some other awesome Oregon people involved in it. So super cool, fun, exciting project. Hop on any of our socials to check out that ad and more.
Yeah, this is very cool to see that. All right, we will get to Oregon State in a little bit, but before that, I want to wrap things up on the Northwestern game. I feel like, at least personally, my opinion of this win kind of changed from Saturday to now. What do you think? How were you initially feeling after the game versus how you feel right now?
Yeah, it's a tough one. The sleepy environment was talked about all week. The early kick was talked about all week. I think a lot of us expected some of that to play into the game when that kick time and that game time originally was announced. I don't know. It's easy to view the first half as a little bit of a lackluster performance. I know the field was slippery. Guys were a little slower than I think they would normally be out there, which I think contributed to maybe us playing down to their level a bit. I think there's some offensive line, defensive line things that I thought weren't up to our standard, and I'm sure Dan would certainly agree. But, everyone sees 34-14 at the same time. Like, it was 31-0, and if you keep Dante Moore in, it's 38-0. So it's hard to – I keep coming back to the fact it's like how many teams in the country can play a C-level game and win by 20 on the road in conference. So I think there's certainly some things to clean up. But, the Duck fans who are raising the alarm bells, I think, are a little outrageous.
Yeah, I think that's always the case too. Yeah, I mean, you take away those 2 drives, even take away that last drive in the fourth quarter, the 79-yard touchdown run. Like, before that, obviously the passing defense was playing great. I mean, they were getting nothing through the air. And then the rushing defense, before that last drive, they were held to 99 yards on the ground for the game. So, obviously you don't like to see, Dan always says he wants that standard upheld by whoever's in the game, like all the way to the end of the game. They expect to stop them. That didn't happen, but it happened against backups. It didn't happen against your starting line. I think Dan, you mentioned it. Dan agreed earlier that they kind of got pushed around a little bit in the trenches. I don't know why. That surprised me for sure. I think this is a game where they should be able to hold up there, but they didn't for whatever reason. But all in all, I don't think it was if that's your bad game, like you said, I think you're doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively the interior run game to me was a little bit of a concern. I think that there was offensive line issues that played into that. I also think running backs just need to do a better job when it comes to that. So I think that blaming the offensive line on the lack of run game success, I think, is a little far-fetched. I think that there's 2 kind of things that go into that we got to get fixed this week. Obviously missing Noah, which plays a role in that for sure. But I think then defensively, I know, we keep talking about leading up to this Penn State game. I mean, the efficiency run game wasn't awesome. I think some of those rushing statistics, while they were inflated by the long 79-yard run, they were also kind of deflated by some big losses and some fumbles and stuff that play into that and some sacks. So I don't know. That Penn State game to me comes down 1,000% to, like, can we keep them behind the chains and make Aller beat us with his arm? And if we defend the run like we did Saturday, I don't feel great about it. So that's got to be one piece that I know we've talked about a lot going into this year, and it looked good against Montana State and Oklahoma State. But whether you call it regression or whatever it is, I think that we slipped a little this week, so I'd like to see us get back to that point.
I like going into this Oregon State matchup feeling like you have something to prove. Like, they're already going to get up for this game anyway, but I love being able to leave a 20-point win and feel like you didn't play well and feel like you have a lot to get better on. So going forward, what do you think? I mean, there's a lot to improve, obviously, but what's the number one thing in your mind that needs to get better?
I mean, I think it's just front seven defending the run. I mean, we had too many times, rushers are getting to the point where it's Aaron Flowers, it's Dylan Thieneman making tackles. Like, we need our front seven to hold the line better. We need our front seven to defend the run better in general. I don't think we've had trouble getting to the passer on third down when we've been in those situations. I mean, we've had success all year when teams have been in third and distance. Not unlike many teams, but that to me is just paramount beyond anything else. And I mean, you felt it that first half. Like, you knew they were going to possess the ball a little bit. You knew they wanted to limit possessions and different things, but they were in a lot of, 2nd and 4, 3rd and 1. I mean, they ran the ball on us on 3rd and 6 and just ran it right down our throats. So, that's a piece coming out of last year where we struggled. That was something Klatt mentioned also on his latest pod, where, like, our run defense was probably our one thing that we wish we could have fixed from last year that kind of materialized late in the season with Penn State and Ohio State. So that's one that, we've got 10 days to clean up.
Yeah. All right, let's talk Oregon State. We always do this with the SP Plus to start. Oregon is number 112 in the SP Plus rankings on ESPN. For comparison, Northwestern was number 80, Oklahoma State was number 50, and Montana State was number 84. So the competition is not getting much better at all this week. The Beavers will try and throw the ball on you. They've got over 300 yards per game in the air this year, just 70 yards per game on the ground, which I was surprised to see that because they've got, Hankerson is a solid running back. I think their offensive line is just pretty abysmal. What have you seen from their offense that really stands out to you? Anything?
I mean, I think what's crazy is, they got a quarterback in Malik Murphy who was, highly recruited by Oregon. There were times where people were mentioning him as a transfer candidate back when he was at Texas, coming here. He's got all the arm talent in the world. Big time arm, can move a little bit with his legs. Trent Walker's a good receiver, local Portland guy. Like, they have some pieces, but I think where they've just dropped a crazy amount is along the offensive line, like you mentioned. I mean, Oregon State for years there was known as like an offensive line developing school. I mean, they've had first-round guys. They pushed us around, 2022. No one remembers. Everyone remembers that game. Dan's first Civil War. that loss and what that looked like. So I think that's where we've seen the biggest decline when it comes to Oregon State, is just like their development and the talent they're bringing along the line. So that's another one where, like, you know, they're certainly a passing team, but we got to step up and like control that line of scrimmage and keep that running game in check. And once again, you get to, you know, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. Like, I trust our DBs against their wide receivers.
Well, and Murphy has had a solid year. I mean, he's playing well. He's throwing the ball well, but he's also someone who will put it at risk too. I think he's got, I believe it's 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, or maybe 5 interceptions. I could be off by 1 there, but you know, he's got several turnovers. So I think that, you know, the secondary is going to be tested in this game, but I think that they're going to have a lot of opportunities to make plays too.
I also think that their numbers are probably a result of the fact that they've had so little success running the ball. I mean, that coaching staff, which is a lot of crossover from like what Jonathan Smith left there and what they built there. I mean, I think they want to probably be a running, like, play action team that they've been for a long time. I just think with their offensive line, running back, that they just haven't had success running the ball early on downs, and that's led to them kind of turning into a heavy pass team. And Murphy, a lot of attempts, but like you said, I mean, if we can do the same thing that these other teams have had success with, like, that's a guy that, kind of similar to Stone last week, I think that he's got a lot of confidence in his arm talent, and typically when you got guys like that, they'll put the ball in play a little bit.
Defensively, this team is not someone that scares you at all. They give up 38 points per game, which I think is 124th in the nation out of 136 teams. They're pretty mediocre against both the pass and the run. I think they're very gettable at each level. I just, you know, watching tape, looking at their stats, like, there was nothing really that stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, this roster's just been like picked clean. It's tough. I don't feel the same level of like vitriol I do for the Beavers as the Huskies. Like, I honestly, it just feels weird going into Civil War with this kind of point spread, like the lack of kind of excitement around the game. I don't know. I feel for some of those fans and just like what they've done there and what they had built and ultimately resulting in now. But I mean, to your point about the defense, I think this is a game where Stein can kind of do what he wants, and it's one of those games you go into Penn State of like, okay, we gotta nail down this thing or work on this thing. We're gonna prioritize these guys' touches. I think there's like a push and pull with that where you don't want to show too much, but you also want to be dialed into, you know, going into that game, which I think is a situation where Penn State's not necessarily in. You know, they've had a bye, they've had other just like blowouts every week. So I think you'll see a very similar script to those first 2 games at home, where it's like run the ball with success early, get yourself in advantageous situations, and then off of play action or just take some shots from that.
Well, it's kind of sad when one of the main storylines going into a Civil War is like that the Oregonian put out a piece that, you know, Trent Bray should be fired. And it's like that, it has a lot of merit too. And when you look at or watch the press conference and stuff, and Bill Oram, who I really like, great reporter, respect him a ton, asked like, do you like being a head coach? And when Trent Bray said, next question, it's like, all right, that's all I needed to see.
I mean, I get both sides of it. I don't know what. Look, like, there's been, I mean, we all saw the like fumbled punt to kick it off the ground return against Fresno State and some of that silly stuff that happened. I know there's been a lot of penalties, like, sure, that's stuff coaching, but even if you clean that up, I mean, their roster is just at a point. I know their NIL situation, their conference, what's happening there. I mean, it's a lower tier Mountain West program at this point, and that's just the reality of the situation. And it's just unfortunate. I was talking to a friend the other day. I just feel like Oregon State and Washington State did everything they possibly could have done for X amount of years to like get 95% of what was out there out of their programs, and then you just get to a situation today where it's like, hey, we'll take this guy, we'll take this guy, we'll take this guy, you know, even if you develop a guy, see you later. So I don't know. I never thought I'd go into a Civil War with this kind of point spread, but I'm not going to complain.
It certainly makes the matchup feel a lot different than it has in years past, that's for sure. Let's get into some game predictions. Who are a few players that you think will need to, or who will end up standing out in this game?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm focused on our offensive line, tackles specifically, like keeping the pocket clean, obviously keeping Dante upright and healthy. I think that this is going to be one of those games where, like, you can continue to introduce some, you know, passing concepts and different things moving on in the year that are going to be successful for us. So I think, once again, it's one of those games that if our offensive line controls, does their job, our tackles keep Dante clean, continue to develop. I mean, they're going to be tested in a week or so. So, Oregon State, they still got some guys who can rush the passer. They'll bring pressure. They'll bring different concepts, and I'd like to see our offensive line make sure they hold up.
Yeah, I'm focused on the outsides, both on offense and defense. Starting with offense, I want to see the receiver room. We should know it's not clear whether or not DeCorian Moore will play right now. I mean, I think he got dinged up a little bit, but he should be fine. But Malik Benson, Kyler Casper, Justice Lowe did not play last week. I'm not sure if he traveled or not, but he didn't play. Jeremiah McClellan, we'll see how he does. But there's some guys out there that I want to see. And then, contrarily on the other side, I want to see Brandon Finney and Ife Obadegwu and Naeem Offord. The three young guys were the leading snap getters at cornerback last week. So I love to see that. I want to see what they can do against a higher ceiling passing attack, I would say. Someone that's going to test them.
Yeah, it's one of those games where, we've rotated so much and played so much depth over the first 3 weeks. It's like, hey, we only got another week of this. Like, who are going to be the guys that we really trust when it comes to that? So I got to imagine there's a lot of discussion, in the locker room at practice right now of like, hey, you got one more opportunity to show and display you're that dude and you're they're just being above the line player against Montana State and Penn State at the whiteout. That's just the reality of the situation. So I don't expect us to rotate that much when we go there. I think we'll still rotate more than we did last year. But wide receiver, DB, I wonder how deep the Penn State rotation is going to be. Right now, it seems like that top four has kind of separated itself. So I'm inclined to think we probably stick in that mode. But you got another week to put on tape.
Do you have any questions that you go into this game with that you want answered?
I feel like I'm banging the drum every week, but it's interior run game offensively, defending the run defensively. I was disappointed in the way we ran the ball, especially inside last week. I think we were in way too many 3rd and long situations, and credit to Dante and the receivers for getting us out of those. But clean, efficient run game, especially inside on early downs. I think aside from De'Aaron Hill and maybe Noah Whittington, interior is a better fit for our other running backs, like Jaden Lamar, Jay Harris, Mekhi Hughes. Those guys' skill sets are better fit, inside the tackles. But I didn't think we necessarily got the, push holes, different thing you need. So I just would like to see that unit get back to that level, because it's going to be a whole different animal, the week after.
You mentioned it there. I don't know that we properly gave Dante his flowers during our Northwestern recap, just for some of the 3rd down throws that he made, him getting us out of those 3rd long situations. We talked to Malik Benson earlier about that, that corner route. He hit him on the sideline, and Benson was that was an incredible throw. He layered that pass over a linebacker. I caught that and I was like, wow. It's amazing to see an Oregon quarterback doing this. Don't get me wrong, Oregon has had great quarterbacks before, but they have not been known for their arm talent like Dante is known for his arm talent. And so seeing him do this time after time, week after week, it's been such a joy to watch.
Yeah, that last drive of the first half, if he doesn't complete, I think 3 3rd and longs, you're going into halftime probably 10-0, and I'm like, geez, 10-0. 17-0 just feels so much different no matter the game. So, just on that drive alone, there were 3 straight BBs on 3rd down, one where he had to, roll out to his right and make a throw on the run, one where he hit a backside guy, then throw to DeCorian Moore was great. Yeah, you just hate to be in those situations, especially against an opponent that you should be able to push around a little bit more on early downs. That's just that's a key in any big time game. So I think just being in situations where 3rd and manageable, 2nd and manageable, not only does it do great things for your offense, it just the playbook is about 10x if you're in those situations in terms of what you can do, what the defense can do. It's such more of an advantageous situation.
Any bold predictions for this game?
I didn't hit on it. I've just switched up weeks right now. So 2 weeks ago, I had the long De'Aaron Hill TD run, which finally came last week. Last week, I had the long Malik Benson TD, which I know we took a couple shots, but I didn't get it. So I'm doubling down on my long Malik Benson TD this week. It's coming.
I like it. I almost said last week. I think I had the 5 rushing touchdowns, one of them for Dante. I think we had 4 or 3. I forget what it was. Yeah, 3, whatever. This week, I'm saying for a 3rd straight week, 2 interceptions. 1 going to Iffy and 1 going to Thieneman.
Oof, you don't want to give the Jerry Mixon 3 in 3 games? for us?
I thought about it, but I was like, all right, that's a very bold prediction. Not like, I mean, he can do it, but like, all right, that'd be very impressive.
I'll take it. I mean, Bryce almost had like 3 last week. I mean, he had 2 off his hands, and then the one he got.
Yeah.
He's in a good spot.
Good. All right, game flow. I feel like, I mean, at this point in the season, we kind of answer this the same way, but it's because, that's how these games go against the lower opponents. But Oregon wins in a blowout if they do what? They win in a close game, or the game is a close game in the second half if what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking about game flow situations. It just feels like we haven't been in an actual game yet where this stuff matters. I think the Penn State discussion around this will be really fun. I mean, heck, you only end up in a close situation like this if there are turnovers on your end or like blown coverages on the other end. I think we had I don't think we had any blown coverages last week. They hit a couple deep balls. One time Lopa got turned around defensively. The other time Offer just like was in great position and slipped. So I have no concerns when it comes to our pass defense. But I mean, you get a couple blown coverages. The other thing with young guys, you end up in a weird situation. I mean, I think this is going to be a game where if I'm Oregon State, I'm emptying everything I've possibly got, trick plays, fake punts, stuff like that. So something weird is going to happen for this game to be close at halftime, let alone the end.
And it feels like one of those games that, with Penn State a week away, like if they just don't have focus on this game. Like, I'm glad this is a rivalry game that's coming right before Penn State because that at least gets your attention. If they were playing Northwestern this week or Oklahoma State this week, then I'd be a little bit more concerned that they could be looking ahead and looking past the opponent. But these guys want to beat the Beavers as much as they want to beat anybody. So that's, I'm, once again, just really not too concerned about this game at all.
I hope I don't eat crow. I am way more worried about an injury, a second half targeting, like something fluky. I mean, you mentioned the more touchdown prop you had earlier. I mean, he's taken a couple hits the last 2 weeks running where I'm like, let's just maybe not do that. He obviously loves it. I mean, they asked him after the game it was either 2 weeks ago or last week, like his run down there, and he said it fired him up and he took a little bit of a hit, but he's like feeling good. Like, I don't know. I hope this week it is like the early Bo Nix Gabriel plan when we didn't have a backup of like, stay in the pocket, please, and just get down and slide. I don't need to see him take another hit before Penn State.
I also really want, I just hope Novosad is healthy and able to play, because, all due respect to Luke Moga, I enjoy watching him play. He's fun, but, I really want to see what Austin can do with 2 quarters and the offense, the full playbook at his fingertips. I just, he potentially has a valuable piece to play in the future of Oregon football, depending on what Dante does this year and next year. I just want to see a bigger sample size of him.
Totally. And I mean, I have a guess, but I don't know if Dante were to get dinged against Penn State and have to come out for a possession or something. I actually don't know who would come in between the two. I know Novosad I don't think he's hurt. I think he's suiting up and probably practicing some, if not all. But like you said, I mean, Moga's gotten the reps the last 2 games. That stuff matters. That stuff's valuable. So 1,000%, I am actually with you that if there's one thing I would love to see this game, it is Austin Novosad to have real football drives with real players where he's running the real offense.
Just 5 pass attempts. That's all I want. I don't feel like that's too much to ask.
Yep, 1,000%. I think that's a great call.
All right, betting line, Oregon minus 35.5, over under 56.5. What are you taking?
I don't think this is like last week where I worry about these other factors playing in. I think this game looks a lot more like the first 2 weeks. I take Oregon, even given the points. Boy, over under. I mean, 56.5. I just don't see the Beavers scoring much. I mean, I think especially coming out of last weekend where I think you have a lot of teaching tape and just mindset stuff you're talking about with hey, we let 2 slip in the fourth quarter there. We ain't letting that happen again. I think that's probably ingrained in the guys. So I don't know. I see, 45-10 hits you under. Oh, that's not even covering though.
No.
Rick.
I know,
what
right?
do you have?
45-10 isn't covering. I have 63-3. I think this is.
That's
Oregon
grim.
State is so bad. I mean, I know they are so bad. I don't think that there's any chance. I mean, I think this could be a 63-0 game. I really do, and I'm giving a little bit of respect by saying 63-3.
Yeah, I mean, what was the final last week against Tech?
what was the final? Go ahead and talk, and I'll pick it up.
I don't know, badly prepared podcasting, but I mean that game was over quickly, and when
It
I
was
was checking
28-0 at halftime. I remember that.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think I'd say they cover and they go over because I'm going to predict that whether it's Moger or Novosad, like they want to develop these guys a little bit, and they're running their offense like late into the game. So standing by your side.
45-14 last week. Tech won.
Okay, I'm going to say we score one more touchdown from that, and we cover both.
Okay, so 52-14. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's look at this week of college football and see what we're watching. We're going to keep this one quick because A, it's not a fantastic week of football like last week. There's some good games. But B, most importantly, we've got a very fun game to get to that we'll look at the college football landscape as a whole. So, Travis, go ahead and start us off. What are you watching this weekend?
Okay, I actually think this is a good slate, especially in the Big Ten.
It is in the Big Ten for sure.
I'm going to go first pick because I love the stadium there, even though I don't think I've ever seen us win there. Texas Tech at Utah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
a good
like
one.
who's the best team in the Big 12. I think whoever wins that game is front runner to probably make the playoff or at least make that title game. Mm-hmm. I think that environment, even though it's a 10 a.m. kick, which is crazy, that environment gets up. The 2021 Oregon game at Utah was like one of the loudest games I've ever been to. That place was rocking. So as long as they get up for a 10 a.m. game, I think those are by far the two most talented teams in that league. Would probably be my picks to be the best two teams in that league. So I'm interested in seeing how that shakes out.
You threw me off the scent by mentioning the Big Ten and then not picking the best Big Ten game of the week. I'll take Illinois at Indiana. Number 9 Illinois, number 19 Indiana. I mean, Oregon plays Indiana later this year. They could play Illinois later in the year. We'll see. I don't think so. We'll see how things shake out. But 4:30 game. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to see Bielema and Kurt Signetti go at it. I don't think they probably like each other that much. So let's see who that fourth best team in the Big Ten is. I think this will tell us that. Fourth, maybe fifth with USC.
I'm ready for some coaches beef if we can get
absolutely.
that hopefully going. Speaking of coaches and one that will be suspended, I think my next one would probably be Michigan at Nebraska. Neither team that we play, but there's just a lot of downstream game scenarios, tiebreaker stuff that obviously could impact us. But I'm a Big Ten guy these days, so I want to see how Raiola looks against a real defense, which Cincinnati I think can do a little bit, but I think this will be a first real test for him.
Well, and I also want to see Bryce Underwood again. Like every chance I get to see him and just kind of see how he progresses. I think because he will have something to say down the road in the Big Ten. I think he's going to be a pretty good player. I will go to SEC territory and take number 22 Auburn at number 11 Oklahoma. 12:30 game. It's unfortunate. A lot of the good games this weekend are at 12:30, the same time Oregon plays. So you'll need a second screen if you want to see those. But what's his name? Jackson Arnold, his revenge game against Oklahoma. I think that'll be fun. Just a good top 25 SEC matchup.
I love it. Okay, next I've got a double just hate game.
Okay.
So I'm going right when I get home, throwing the Apple Cup on, go Cougs.
Yep.
And then leading right into my USC Michigan State game, go Spartans. Okay. So those are two teams I'm always going to fly the flag that day. So as everyone knows, I've always been a big Cougar and Spartan fan.
Absolutely, always. Yeah, go Jonathan Smith. I will take my last two, Florida at Miami. I'll just have it on. I'm interested to see if DJ Lagway can throw another 5 interceptions. That'll be fun to watch. And then Tulane at Ole Miss, I think. Oh, actually, that'll be during the Duck game, but that'll still be an interesting game to see. I think Tulane probably has the inside track to get that Power 5 or non-Power 5 Group of 5 playoff spot after their win over Duke, and they've looked pretty good. So I'm interested to see what they can do against an actual ranked team.
Yep. I think those are both good. The only other two I had down were I think ASU Baylor's good game. I think Sawyer Robertson is really freaking good. You may see him come up in our little Heisman draft in a bit here, depending on how deep we go. And then Friday night, I said I'm a Big Ten guy. Iowa at Rutgers.
Good game.
Like I've said all along, I think our season pivot point is not Penn State. It's just if you tell me right now we beat Iowa, we're gonna make the playoff no matter what. I think that's the pivot point all along.
Do you have any question about that game, though? I don't have any question about that game after seeing what Gronowski has done.
Not as much as I used to, but as the degenerates in my group chat keep reminding me, we almost lost to Braden Locke, who was horrible last year in November. So I just think there's going to be one of these games on the road that's a little closer than we expect. I don't think it's going to be Rutgers. I think, there's no doubt we get up for Washington. So I don't know. I'm still going to be feeling uneasy going into that Iowa game, especially if it's a big noon game, early morning like that.
That's very true.
I'd like to see Rutgers just prove to me another week that Iowa's not good, maybe make Gronowski look horrible, and then I'll start to feel a little better.
Yeah, that's very fair. It'll be a fun game to watch for sure. All right, let's get into our Heisman draft. We've touched on it a little bit, but what we're going to do is, we're a quarter way through the season now, so it felt like a good time to kind of sit back and just look at the college football landscape. And what we're going to do is we're going to draft 5 players each, going back and forth, of who we think is going to win the Heisman. And we're going to revisit this halfway through the season, 3-quarter mark, and then again at the end. Whoever gets the most finalists, I think we said, is going to win whatever prize we have not named, bragging rights. The fun thing is, at each, halfway mark, 3-quarter mark, we can add or drop players to our list. Say I drafted someone that either got injured or has just been playing terribly, and I don't want him anymore. I can drop him and pick someone else up as long as the other guy does not have them. Does that all make sense?
Yep. Are we going snake, 1, then 2, then 2,
snake.
then 2?
Okay.
Or just alternate?
Let's do snake. Yeah,
okay.
Let's do snake.
1, 2,
yeah,
2, 2,
yeah.
2. Okay.
All right, you want to go first, you on me?
Boy, the first big decision if I'm trying to win this thing.
Yeah,
I
right.
want to go 2nd and 3rd.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to be the homer, and I'm going to do it. Of course I am. I'm going to take Dante Moore. I think he may not win it. I think he absolutely will be in New York this year. I think that's just a point on the board. I've seen nothing to dissuade me of the notion that he can be in New York at the end of the year. And now I have him on my team. Thank you for the first pick.
Stuff.
Would you have taken him first?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, we can't
I was hoping you'd get cute or something. Okay. I am going with, I'm looking at my big board that I made earlier, John Mateer.
Okay, yep.
And
I think he's the current odds leader.
No, he's 2nd, but I'm not picking the guy who's first. You can have him.
I wanted you to, because I don't want him either.
I don't want him. Winning, I'm not willing to have him just to win. I'll take Jeremiah Smith.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, all right. Those were 2 guys that were high on my board. God, I don't want that guy.
You got 2 picks.
Yeah, I could really see him being there. I'm just gonna take him. Value Carson Beck.
Do it. Yep.
I don't feel great about it. I honestly don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I do not see him having an NFL career. And I still
think though, Miami, the season they're set up to have, their schedule and everything. If we're just drafting guys to be in New York,
But they've also got Mario Cristobal, and we've seen what that happens down the stretch. So this could be a terrible pick that I hated making and could not pay out in the end. So
it's good. You're just a big Miami fan the rest of the year. It's all good.
Not what I want. All right, I might go a little bit deeper here. Give me Joey Aguilar.
Okay.
I think that I like Tennessee. They looked so good last week against Georgia. I cannot believe they did not win that game. Joey looked very good. I think he's a solid player. I think if they continue to play that well, he's going to be one of the reasons why. Yeah, give me Joey.
All right. I'm going deep.
Okay.
I'm just trying to forecast who I think is going to have a good season and what teams I could see. As we know, I feel like you need to be so unreal and have crazy numbers like Hunter did or storyline from Hunter to get there if your team is not at least in the playoff hunt. So I'm going Haynes King.
Okay. I love it.
Because I think the story around him is actually legit. If you've looked at their schedule, they're probably going to be 11-0. I mean, if they don't drop a stupid game, they're going to be 11-0 going into Georgia. And I think, like, everyone loves that dude. I think he's the kind of guy that, like, media is going to, just, like, love up as the year goes. He, like, represents, like, so much of what's good about the sport, I feel like.
He plays quarterback like Isaiah Pacheco plays running back. Like, just absolutely does not care about himself or his body and just willing to do everything for the team. I like that pick.
Yep, okay. And my second, choosing between two guys here. I'm going to go with Thomas Castellanos.
Oh, no. Damn it. I really wanted him.
Once again, I think
great
schedule-wise, I think they're in the hunt late in the year. Like, run pass, I think his numbers are going to be pretty legit. I don't think he's a guy where I'm like, if I'm picking who's going to win, I actually would not pick him. But I think if you're talking about a guy who could sneak in fourth, get in the mix a little bit, that's my guy.
Dang. And just like all of the noise he made this offseason, and then to actually come and back it up and beat Alabama, it's like, okay, like, he earned my respect. Like, I don't like how much he talks, but it's like, all right, if you're gonna back it up, I will listen. This is a very easy one. Like, if we did this preseason, this guy would have probably been the first off the board. But give me Arch Manning. Like,
hey, all right.
He's not looked good so far, but if he starts turning it around, like, you telling me that name is not going to be in the mix, so I'm for sure going to take him.
Are we just going 5? This is your last one here?
I think you want to do 5 or 7.
I'm good with. Let's just do 5. We can switch
let's do
out.
5.
One more each.
Man, there's a guy on here I want to take, but I don't know how. I think he's fine, and I'm gonna do it. I can drop if I need to. Lenore Sellers. I think he's a fun player. I don't know if he's gonna put up stats enough to get him into the Heisman conversation, but I just like watching him play football.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, I mean, I just pulled up the odds. I mean, it's crazy. Some of these like odds on guys. I mean, Gunnar Stockton has the 4th best odds. I know he threw the ball around a little bit this weekend, but I just don't see. I mean, if he keeps putting up numbers and they're in the hunt, I mean, I think he'll be there. That's just not fun to me. So I'm going to go with another guy where I think they could have a really good season. Quarterback of the my number 1 pick weekend game I'm ready to watch, Devin Dampier.
Okay, he's fun. He is very
Once
fun.
again, I think with my last 3 guys, King, Castellanos, Dampier, I think they're all like dual threat guys. I think they'll have the numbers, and if those teams are 11-1 or in the mix at the end of the year, I think one of them could sneak in there. It's crazy how like beyond. I think we feel good about like Dante and Mateer, and maybe a couple other guys at the top, and then it's just so wide open.
Yeah, it's very wide open. Yeah, I agree. I will be curious to see how many drops we're making after like 3 weeks from now. It'll be really interesting to see.
Yep.
All right, we're good with that. That was fun. I'm excited to see this like throughout the next couple of months. That'll be a fun way to keep tabs throughout the year.
Ready for all the hate on my off the radar picks, so bring it to me on
fine.
Twitter. Put it in the comments
fine.
wherever you want. I'm ready. Should we get to the airwaves?
Yeah, let's get to airwaves. Close it out.
Okay, just 2 questions this week. So first one from Dre. What does the future look like for Dink Riggs? Everyone has been questioning Hughes, but Dink has just been as interesting, seeing how highly he was spoken of before the season started.
That's such a good question, man. That's such an underrated storyline because everyone's talking about Hughes. I joked with Jay Stu last week that I think that we have a curse as a podcast because last year we were all in on Jay Harris before the year, saying he's going to be incredible. We saw what happened then. He came back this year. This year it was all Dink Riggs. I mean, Jay Stu was comparing him to Kenyon Barner, LaMichael James, like saying by the halfway point of the season he's going to be the starter. He's done very next to nothing so far. So I don't know, to be completely honest. I think he's just kind of buried on the depth chart. I think the other guys might just be a little bit better, but I don't know exactly what it is. I know he slimmed down a lot this past year, so maybe that had an adverse effect, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I heard QB11 talk about it the other day, and I think he made a good point of, like, I think you might just see a situation where he's kind of caught in the middle of two groups of guys. I think you have that elder statesman group of Noah, Harris, Lamar, Hughes, that either he put it this way or someone else did. Like, you can run your full playbook with those guys in, to where, like, they're experienced, they're going to be in the right spot, they'll block, they won't mess up the play, like they know what's going on. You have that group. Then you have this younger group of Davison and Hill that probably a little more limited in some of like the other things that they're bringing, but just like the talent and ability is probably better than anyone else in those room. I think Riggs might just find himself in a situation where he's kind of caught in the middle of those two groups. Like, he doesn't bring the speed, pop, running ability that those younger dudes might have, but he also hasn't been in the program enough to bring some of those like more intangible veteran things that the older group has. But I would just caution people, like, it's been 3 weeks. I think there's a good part of me that believes this room might be in a very different spot come November, for example. And you see some guys get dinged up a little bit. We already saw Noah. There's a lot of belief in Riggs, and I don't think any of the stuff we heard coming out of the offseason was unfounded. I mean, we saw firsthand in some of the time he got last year, like, this, it's no question about skill. We saw it firsthand. So I think that's an underrated point of, like, how much of the playbook can you run with X player on the field? I think that's De'Aaron Hill's issue right now, is like, when he's in, can you run your whole playbook? Can you trust him to pick up every blitz protection? Can you trust him out of the pass game? Those are some of those things that are developing a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see, but obviously a deep room and a lot of guys who are, earning themselves the ball right now.
Yep, completely agree. All right, next one.
Question from Wilson. First of all, provided a little Ducks Rising shout out, which is, I continue to love Ducks Rising more and more. I find myself on the other sites less and less every day. The former player buy-in, the current players being a part of it really separates it for me, and the scoop is always on point. Appreciate that, Wilson. Question for y'all. Who do you think is the biggest surprise in the depth chart so far? I think the obvious answer is running back, so maybe besides that group.
Biggest surprise in the depth chart. I mean, defensively, Brandon Finney. Like, if you told me 2 to 3 months ago that he was going to be starting, like, absolutely not. Would not believe you. I'm a little bit surprised Jerry Mixon over Devin Jackson. I don't know if Devin is still dinged up a little bit, but obviously Jerry has done enough to warrant that starting spot. Like, he's really good. And then I'm also just a little bit surprised that Cooper Perry is as high in the depth chart as he is. Like, that he's getting the run and they're calling plays for him. That's not something you usually see with a true freshman receiver.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a really good call. I had 3 listed down. I went into the offseason coming out of last season thinking that, like, Kingston Lopo was going to be the guy back there, but to me it seems like Aaron Flowers has taken that spot. I know Lopo's been dinged a little bit injury-wise in fall camp, so that might have played a role, but I think Flowers has been clearly the 1A back there, it seems like, so far. We'll see if that continues. Dave Iuli at guard. I mean, I also went into the season coming out of spring thinking Matthew Bedford probably had that spot, given he did a year before that, but I think Yuli's won that spot and been solid and created depth in the interior we haven't had for a while. I think the last one, I just think we got to deserve like a little shout here. There were a lot of Duck fans who questioned the take of Malik Benson in the offseason. Thought that, we never develop, we need to let these young guys play and everything. I just hope that the crow has been eaten when it comes there, and I hope that we can finally get to the point where we trust the staff in making these calls. I mean, he's been explosive, he's been reliable, hands-wise, which was a big question. I mean, with what happened with Jurian Dickey, with a couple other dinged-up guys in that room, I don't want to think about a world where we don't have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knew that one drop in a spring game could do such damage to a fan base? Like, they were completely out. I was telling my friends in the group chat, I was like, before the first game, I was like, watch out, Malik Benson. Like, you will be talking about him after this game for the next couple of weeks. Like, he's going to be the guy. And so far, I think we've been proven right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I still remember the day he committed and leading up to it, just like all the discussion around it, he didn't make an impact at Florida State, he didn't make an impact at Alabama. That's like, did anyone watch Florida State last year?
Yeah, 2-10.
No offense to a player of ours brother, but he wasn't exactly getting the most catchable passes in the world in the best offensive situation. So it's just one of those, like, I think it's more credence for us in our discussions to be like, hey, maybe let's give the staff the benefit of the doubt on this one and trust they know what they're doing.
Completely agree. All right, let's wrap it up there. Just another reminder, if you're listening to this, check out Jeff Schwartz's Ducks Rising Film Room, which dropped earlier this week, and also the Ducks Rising Alumni Corner with Will Murphy from earlier on Wednesday. This week was the first week that Jeff's Film Room was for subscribers only. We released a teaser on YouTube and for social. But for the whole thing, head over to ducksrising.com to become a member. Remember that 97% of all proceeds are going back to the athlete in the form of NIL, so it truly is your best way to help contribute to the team and help Dan Lanning bring a championship to Eugene. Travis, you got anything to add before we get out of here?
Just a reminder, we mentioned off the top, big giveaway heading into Penn State. We'll pop the link in the description here below on socials and on YouTube and everywhere else. But if you were considering joining, now would be the perfect week to do it. Not only you get membership to those things, but you contribute directly to this challenge. You can maybe win yourself tickets and find yourself in Happy Valley with myself and some other buddies. So fired up for that one, and hope fans can just hop in there and join the cause.
Yeah, and if you were going to Penn State, I mean, reach out to Travis and I. We'll both be there, so we'll have to meet up and try and hang out, have a little Ducks Rising meetup. That'd be fun.
For sure.
All right, check us out on YouTube. You can find the Ducks Rising podcast on Apple or Spotify. Again, if you'd be so kind, give us a rating and review. That really helps us build this thing. You can follow me on social media at Zachary C. Neel. You can follow Travis at Travis Rooke-Ley. But more importantly, go over to Lockeverse and check out the Ducks Rising. Subscribe now and support the program. Let's rise together. We will see you guys next week.